My mother-in-law tried to ruin my marriage, but she ended up alone instead. I never thought my life would turn into one of those horror stories you read on Reddit about evil mothers-in-law. When I married David, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. He was sweet, attentive, respectful, and more importantly, he loved me deeply. We were high school sweethearts who had managed to weather the storm of college and first jobs. We got married at 26, full of hope and blind optimism. I knew his mother, Judith, was a bit intense. She had a habit of making passive-aggressive comments, especially toward other women. I assumed she'd warm up to me once she saw how happy I made her son. I was so wrong. The first real red flag appeared at our wedding. Judith wore a white dress. A full-length, sparkly, white dress. Not ivory. Not beige. It was practically bridal. When I confronted her about it, she smiled and said, "Oh, honey, I didn't realize you'd be so sensitive. It's just a color." David brushed it off. "She's just being dramatic. Don't let it ruin the day." So I swallowed my frustration. But things escalated quickly once we moved into our first house, just 10 minutes away from Judith. Bad idea. She'd drop by unannounced constantly. Sometimes she'd come over with casseroles, sweet, right? Until I found out she'd been going through our pantry and tossing out unhealthy food. I'm not talking junk food, I mean whole grain pasta, plant-based snacks, even my prenatal vitamins when I got pregnant. She replaced everything with brands she approved. She made backhanded comments about my cooking. She told David in front of me that I was too emotional to be a good mother and that some women just weren't built for it. When I gave birth to our daughter, Emma, Judith insisted on being in the delivery room. I said no. She threw a full-blown tantrum in the hospital lobby, screaming that I was keeping her grandchild from her. David stayed quiet. After Emma was born, things got worse. Judith would come over and criticize every little thing I did as a mom. I'd rock Emma to sleep and she'd mutter, "That's not how I did it, no wonder the baby's fussy." If I used cloth diapers, she insisted I was making things harder on myself. If I used disposables, I was poisoning the baby. David kept telling me to just ignore her. "She means well," he said. "She just doesn't know how to express it." But the worst part? Judith would undermine me in front of Emma, even as she got older. When Emma was 3 and had a tantrum, Judith told her, "It's okay, sweetie. Mommy doesn't always know what she's doing." And David didn't defend me. He told me to pick my battles, to let it go. Eventually, I started feeling like a single parent with 2 children, Emma and David. I went to therapy alone. I begged him to come with me. He refused. "You're the one with the problem," he said. "My mom's always been like this. You knew that." I started to withdraw. I began documenting everything. I saved texts. I recorded voice memos. Something inside me knew I might need them someday. Everything changed on Emma's 5th birthday. We'd planned a party at a local park. I had spent weeks organizing it, princess theme, bouncy castle, cupcakes, the whole 9 yards. Emma was thrilled. Judith showed up late, wearing a tiara. Yes, a tiara. She walked in with a massive gift, a real bunny in a cage. Not a toy, a live animal. Emma, of course, was ecstatic. But I was stunned. Emma had asthma. We told Judith no pets until she was older and tested for allergies. When I confronted her, she said, "Well, I just thought she deserved a real present, not like the dollar store junk you gave her." In front of everyone, I snapped. For the first time in 5 years, I didn't hold back. I told her to leave. She refused. So I picked up her tiara, threw it in the trash, and loudly told her, "You are no longer welcome in my home, in my life, or around my daughter." David was furious. At me. That night, he slept on the couch. The next day, he packed a bag and left for Judith's house to clear his head. I didn't stop him. It took me 3 days to stop crying. But by day 4, I was done being the victim. I called a lawyer. I filed for separation. Then I filed for full custody of Emma. Remember all that documentation? The texts, the voicemails, the videos of Judith berating me in front of Emma while David stood by? My lawyer said I had a very strong case. David tried to play the victim, of course. Said I was tearing the family apart. But when it came time for court-mandated therapy and evaluations, the truth came out. David's emotional detachment. Judith's controlling behavior. The unhealthy environment they'd both created. The judge granted me full physical custody and required supervised visitation for David, without Judith present. I moved across town, got a better job, built a support system, enrolled Emma in a great school, and over time, I started to breathe again. 1 year later, David reached out. He looked like a shell of the man I once loved. Turns out Judith had been manipulating him too, subtly, emotionally, for decades. Living with her again opened his eyes. He started therapy. On his own. No pressure from me. He apologized. And I mean truly apologized, not just sorry you feel that way. He acknowledged every time he failed to stand up for me. Every time he let his mother disrespect me. Every time he chose silence over support. It wasn't a Hollywood ending. We didn't get back together. But we did become co-parents. Now, Emma is 7. She's thriving. David and I are civil. Friends, even. He takes Emma twice a month, without Judith, who is now permanently cut off. Not by court order. By David's choice. Apparently, she pulled the same controlling stunts with him once he moved in. Tried to micromanage his finances, his meals, his friends. He lasted 6 months. He told her, "You've lost your place in my life. You lost your place in Emma's." Judith now lives alone. She sends Christmas cards. We don't open them. To anyone dealing with a toxic in-law, you are not overreacting. You are not being too sensitive. Don't wait for your partner to save you. Save yourself. Get your evidence. Know your worth. Be your own advocate. Sometimes, the fairy tale doesn't end with the prince. Sometimes, the happy ending is you, finally free, finally breathing, finally home.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for daily life stories.